A roast potato can be fully cooked and still disappointing. The inside is done, but the outside stays pale, smooth, or leathery. That usually means the potato steamed before it browned. This video is about controlling that steam, then turning the outside into rough, golden edges that actually crunch. The reliable sign is not just time in the oven, it is whether the surface has had a chance to dry, roughen, and sit in direct heat. The method has 4 decisions. First, soften the outside in salted water. Second, let the surface dry until it stops looking shiny. Third, rough the edges so there are tiny ridges for oil to cling to. Fourth, spread the pieces so the oven heat reaches every side. Each decision solves one common failure: hard centers, wet surfaces, smooth crusts, or trapped steam on the tray. This is not a seasoning trick. It is a texture sequence, and skipping one part changes the crust. Start with floury potatoes if you can. Russet, Maris Piper, or King Edward are good choices. They break up at the surface and stay fluffy inside. Waxy potatoes can still roast, but they tend to stay smoother, so they need more patience and more space to get crisp. If your supermarket only says baking potatoes, choose the ones sold for baking or mashing, rather than salad potatoes. For 4 servings, use 2.2 pounds of potatoes, about 1 kilogram. You need half a teaspoon of baking soda, 4 tablespoons of neutral oil, about 60 milliliters, salt, and optional rosemary. The baking soda is not for flavor. It makes the outside a little more fragile. Keep the flavoring simple until the method is reliable. Garlic powder, butter, or fresh herbs too early can burn before the potatoes finish crisping. Salt in the water seasons the inside. Salt after roasting wakes up the crust, so both moments matter. Heat a regular oven to 425 Fahrenheit, or 220 Celsius. For fan or convection, use 400 Fahrenheit, or 200 Celsius. A plain metal sheet pan works best. Glass dishes and crowded deep pans hold moisture around the potatoes for too long. Parchment can make cleanup easier, but bare metal usually gives the strongest contact brown. Peel the potatoes if you want the classic fluffy roast potato crust. Cut them into roughly 2-inch chunks, about 5 centimeters. They do not need perfect cubes, but they should be similar in size. Small scraps burn before the large centers soften, so keep the pieces generous. If one potato is much larger than the others, cut it by thickness, not by number of pieces, so everything parboils at the same pace. Put the potatoes in salted water and add half a teaspoon of baking soda. Measure it. More is not better here. Too much can taste soapy and can make the outside collapse before the center has time to cook. Keep the water at a gentle simmer, not a violent boil. The pot should look active, but the potatoes should not be crashing into each other like rocks. After 8 to 10 minutes, the outside should look slightly rough, and the edges should no longer be sharp. The center should still hold together. If the water is knocking the pieces around hard, lower the heat. You want controlled softening, not potato corners breaking off into the pot. The timing changes with potato variety and chunk size, so the texture matters more than the clock. A few rough crumbs in the water are fine. A cloudy pot full of broken pieces means the simmer is too hard. Test the thickest piece with a small knife. The knife should enter the outer layer easily, then meet a little resistance near the middle. If the center is rock hard, keep simmering. If the piece splits apart as soon as you touch it, drain now and handle the rest gently. Test more than one piece if the chunks are uneven, because the largest piece decides whether the tray will cook evenly. Drain well. Then leave the potatoes in the colander for 2 to 3 minutes. This is not idle time. Steam is leaving the surface. When the potatoes change from shiny and wet to dull and slightly matte, they are ready to roughen. Wet potatoes fight crisping from the start. Give the colander one gentle shake so hidden water does not sit in the bottom and soak the lower pieces. Put the potatoes back in the empty pot. Cover it, then shake firmly 5 or 6 times. Stop before they turn into mash. You are looking for fuzzy edges and a thin potato paste on the outside. That paste becomes the rough crust, so do not rinse it away. If the pieces stay smooth, they probably needed another minute in the water. If they smear apart, they went too far. Open the lid and look. Do not count shakes blindly because the potatoes tell you when to stop. Add 4 tablespoons of neutral oil, about 60 milliliters, plus salt. Fold gently until the rough parts look lightly coated. The oil should cling to the fuzzy surface. If it pools at the bottom while the potatoes look dry, fold once or twice more rather than adding more oil. Use a neutral high-heat oil here. Save butter for a finishing toss if you want that flavor later. Spread the potatoes on a metal sheet pan in one layer. Leave real gaps between pieces. If a piece has a broad cut side, place that side down for contact browning. This is where many soft roast potatoes are lost. The tray looks full, but the pieces are steaming each other. If the pan looks crowded, use 2 pans. 2 open trays beat 1 packed tray every time. The gaps do not need to be huge, but they need to be visible all around the pieces. Roast for about 25 minutes without moving them. The first side needs time to build a crust. If you turn too early, the rough coating tears before it is browned. Look for golden edges where the potatoes touch the pan before you start flipping. Avoid opening the oven every few minutes. Every check dumps heat and slows the surface drying you work to build. Turn each piece, then roast another 20 to 30 minutes. Add rosemary only during the last 10 minutes so it perfumes the oil without burning into bitter needles. If one side is browning faster than the others, turn the tray or move the darker pieces toward the center. If a piece is stuck, wait a few more minutes. A proper crust usually releases more cleanly than a pale surface. They are done when several sides are deep golden, the edges look craggy, and the centers split fluffy when pressed. Pale yellow is usually not enough. Salt them while hot, then serve soon. Crisp potatoes soften as they sit, especially if they are piled into a deep bowl. A good tray should sound a little scratchy when the potatoes move across the metal. If the potatoes are cooked but still pale, do not fix it with more oil. Move them to a bigger pan, open the gaps, and roast 8 to 10 minutes more. If they are browning but not crisping, leave them uncovered and keep roasting. If they are breaking apart, stop turning and let one side set before touching them again. If they are dark outside but still firm in the middle, the chunks were probably too large or the oven was too hot. Lower the heat slightly and give them more time. Do not cover finished potatoes with foil because it traps steam and softens the work you just did. The whole method is about surface control. Choose floury potatoes, cut them evenly, soften the outside, let steam escape, roughen the surface, coat lightly, and give every piece room. If the tray starts acting like a steam box, fix the space first. Crisp outside, fluffy inside. No guessing. Once you understand the sequence, the exact potato and oven matter less because you know which cue to adjust. The next batch gets easier because you can correct the failed cue instead of changing everything.